So we're here with Cynthia Taylor. And Cynthia, where do you live?
I live in Ohio.
Ohio, okay. And I knew you were on the
Close to Pittsburgh.
East Coast time zone. So you recently finished a 14-day fast. Tell me how long it's been since you finished that?
It's been about 1 month.
Okay.
About 4 weeks. Mm-hmm.
About 4 weeks. So right when you finished, you went into the refeed mode. And how long did you do that?
I did a 1 week refeed.
Okay.
So 7 days.
And then, so it's been 3 weeks after the refeed that you have finished the fasting. Can you tell me a little bit about now I understand you did various cleanses and stuff like that before, and I really don't know anything about those. Can you tell me a little bit about what those were and what sort of prepped you to want to try to do fasting instead of more cleanse type things, or along with, or I'm not sure.
Right. Well, I started out doing the cellular detox, and part of that process, they talked to us about intermittent fasting and started us on 16/8. Occasionally, we did 16/8, working up to after the 5-month program. Then we were to do a 5-day fast. But I had heard about all the advantages of doing an extended fast. Being older, in the older age group, I was very interested in keeping my possible loose skin and that sort of thing from taking place. So I started doing the 5-day fast right away, and I've done 7 5-day fasts and 1 14 days since last April.
Wow. But you didn't meet Al and start this group until, was it December? When?
I think, is that right, Al? I think around December. Yeah.
Late November.
Late November. Yeah. Okay,
November,
so you had done 5-day fasts, and you had done more than one. So for people who've never done a 14-day fast, but may have done 1, 2, 3 days, can you tell, I mean, it sounds like you, as Al would say, built up your fasting muscle by doing these multiple 5-day fasts, in the space of a year. Can you talk a little bit about what surprised you, at least with the shorter fasts, and then what surprised you with the longer fast?
Okay. I personally had no problem doing the shorter fast because I already, I guess, in a way, practiced intermittent fasting all my life because I never ate breakfast. I found that if I ate breakfast in the morning, that I would feel hungry all day. So I had already had that as a practice, just didn't call it intermittent fasting.
Or time restricted
so I was
eating.
used to not eating. Right. Yeah. Yeah. I was doing the restricted eating just as a matter of preference, actually. So when I never had a problem with the intermittent or restricted eating fasting, they're used to, waking up and eating breakfast. But so fasting was not a problem for me until I did the 5-day, and that was a little bit harder. But because I wanted the benefits, I just stuck with it, and I just kept thinking about what good stuff was going on, and so the 5-day fast became sort of not easy to do, but not difficult either. The 14-day was a challenge because I do like to eat a lot. So, and I have a family. So there's always a birthday or something, something going on where people are eating. And so that was it was a real challenge for me, not because of hunger, but the mind. The mind part of it is, I think, for all fasting is the major thing is thinking that you need to eat, thinking about what you can't have. Generally, I'm not hungry until I decide to go on a fast, and then I'm like starving or thinking about food constantly. So I find that the mental challenge is much more difficult than the fact that I'm not eating.
Right. Can you tell me a little bit about your motivations for doing all of this? I mean, did you have any kind of metabolic issues that were threatening you?
Yes, actually, I had a lot going in my life and have for about 25 years or so. I had just extreme low energy, a lot of stress, a lot of overreactions to stress, feeling stressed out all the time, even when there was no reason to be. But mostly I was tired. I have all these children. I have quite a few children around me. And I just didn't feel like hanging out with them. My husband also at the time, he wanted to do things and I didn't want to do anything. I just wanted to stay home. And turns out I just always had these issues. I had bad, slow thyroid. I had a lot of pain. I have scoliosis and the pain associated with that. And also I had sciatica. I don't even know if I remember all the things I had because there was a lot of little things. I had some thyroid issues for sure. But the pain was really, really big. I had difficulty making meals for my family because it was hard for me to stand. I really didn't enjoy doing that at all. In fact, I just didn't enjoy life. I was grumpy. I was, if anybody asked me a question, I didn't want to deal with anything. Everything was a stress point for me. Because I felt so bad, I took out life insurance on myself because I figured I had these children that needed taken care of. Shortly after I took out the life insurance, my husband got ill. He had cancer. He was always the healthy one, the one that covered for me. And so when he got cancer and when that happened, I decided that I needed to get healthy for the children and that they needed somebody, that wasn't what I was, which was very just worn out. So that's what motivated me. But I'd always had difficulty losing weight. I tried diets and that sort of thing, but it never budged. The weight just would not go away. So I decided to tackle it from a health point of view and just work on my health and fixing my health issues. And once I started doing that, that's when I saw the weight just kind of go off. And then the fasting accelerated, I believe, it accelerated the actual weight loss. But also what I found was that I believe that the fasting helped keep me from having a lot of loose skin. Of course, I lost a lot of weight. I've lost about 70 pounds. So
wow. Okay.
I do have loose skin. I'm over 60 years old. So, and I held that weight for over 20 years. So, but I have very little loose skin. And that was to be honest, the fasting part was more a vanity thing because I had heard that the autophagy would help with the loose skin and all that. So it was really easy for me to do the 5 days because I had a vanity thing behind that as well as the health. But all my health issues disappeared. I have no pain anymore. I'm able to stand however long I want. I had some really interesting things happen as well. I had always had problems with my ears being clogged up and having trouble hearing. And about 5 months into my fasting journey, my ears just opened up and I began to hear perfectly, and no problems at all.
Wow.
And the only thing I can attribute it is to, what I was doing, because usually in the spring and in the fall, my ears automatically just kind of clog up, I guess I don't know if I have allergies or what, but that went away.
Did you have any sinus issues?
Just so many things. Yeah. Oh, yeah. I had a lot of runny nose and allergy issues. I haven't noticed those. I'm just now going through a full cycle. But so far, I have not had any problems. And in fact, I can't complain about any health issues at all. I'm 63 and I take no medication. My blood pressure is fine. Everything is good. So it's pretty exciting because I went from being I was no fun. I was put it that way. I just was very ill and very worried that I wasn't going to last too long, actually. So it's just completely changed my life. And when I found out that it also helped brain issues and feeling happier, that was pretty cool too, because I do have some brain injury. And so I'll be fasting probably the rest of my life because I just can't imagine not, because of all the benefits that I've seen.
Can you talk about specific pain and how it disappeared? Like you said, sciatica, which I know can end up in your neck and end up in your lower back, and you feel like your legs are going to collapse. And what other, can you just describe the pain that you had pre and post fasting?
Sure. Like I said, the main thing was that I had so much pain, like in my hip areas, mostly where I had it, that it was difficult for me to stand still. I was okay moving about, but to stand and do housework or dishes or to cook, for some reason, I just would feel like I was being pulled down, because I also have scoliosis, and I think that played a part in it too, because I just felt like somebody was pulling on my head and pulling me down, and it was difficult for me to stay upright. I'm gonna, if I recall correctly, I'm gonna say like 3 months into the intermittent fasting and having done 2 5-day fasts, I realized that I had no pain. I mean, it was just like all of a sudden I realized that I could do all the things that I couldn't do before. I haven't had any pain issues at all. Arthritis and all those sorts of things run in my family. My mother has it very bad. I play piano. I've lifted, I was in the farmer's market, so I was lifting bushels of produce and stuff, and I have absolutely no pain at all anywhere. So it's pretty exciting.
What a change.
Yeah, I would say that the biggest change is a change that I can't feel or can't see, but just that I do things that I would not have done before, like walking up the hill to my daughter's apartment. I couldn't. I just felt like I had a weight on my chest. I couldn't breathe. I have heart problems in my family also. So I felt like I was going to have a heart attack if she doesn't live that far up the road. And after having lost some weight, I noticed I had to walk up there one day, and I could go up there and the flight of steps, and it was like nothing. But like I started to say, the big thing is that I feel different. Like I interact with people differently. I never, like before, I never wanted to do anything. Now I do things. I volunteer, like always made everybody come to me. Now I'll go, and do things outside of my house. So that's pretty cool. I just appreciate everything that has happened because of the journey that I've been on. And then meeting Al has really helped with the knowing why all this stuff is working. And to me, that makes it easier to do it. And when I did the 14-day fast, you having done it ahead of me, was really awesome, because I never would have thought, like I thought it was really something for doing a 5-day fast. So doing a 14-day was it was just the challenge of doing it, really. But I also have some belly fat that I wanted to get rid of, and still have a little bit I want to do. So that was another motivation for doing the longer fast.
Can you talk about how the 14 was different than the 5? Because my own experience was, the 14 was just a mind roller coaster. I think that I would do things like I'd wake up and I was like, I'm on day 7 and I was on day 4, but I was convinced that I was on day 7. I mean, my brain like had the worst time just dealing with the fact that I wasn't eating. What was your experience? How was it different with the 14 and the 5s that multiple 5-day fasts that you've done?
Yeah, I did the same thing. I got totally mixed up in what day it was. I guess I was just hoping it was coming to the end. I can't say that the difference probably, I actually think the 14-day was a little bit easier, because I sort of had in my brain that I just wasn't going to be eating. Whereas with the 5-day, I'm already, day 3, I'm looking forward to what I'm going to refeed and how I'm going to go back to eating. With the 14-day, I knew that just wasn't going to happen for a long time. So I really didn't have a problem doing the longer. I still can't imagine going past 14 days. Al's doing the 21-day right now. And, I really think that the hardest thing about fasting, I know, Jean, for you probably relate to this, is really just the family things going on. If it was just me, who cares about eating? I never really was that much into eating anyway. I like food, don't get me wrong, but I always felt like I was too busy to eat. So the fasting was kind of fun because I didn't have to stop and eat. But when I have to feed other people, the more extended fasts make that more challenging. Not so much because I feel like I want to eat. Right. It's just, you're constantly looking at food, and also I'm sure you felt this too. You get very creative with food and thinking about it and what you're gonna like I said, I had the pain and stuff, so so I never wanted to cook. But when I fast, I think of all these amazing things to make. I love looking at recipes. I love, looking at food, watching other people eat. It really isn't as hard as you would think, because I think somehow you just live vicariously, and your brain kind of feels like maybe it's getting all that. I don't know. I don't know the psychology of it, but I actually do more cooking in my head when I'm fasting.
What about some of the
my grandchildren?
The physical things that happened during the 14-day fast, like did your tongue change color? Mine did. Did you feel like you had, the keto breath and that kind of stuff?
Oh yeah. Yeah.
It's good to have other
I
people that have done it so you
I got
expect it.
Yes, yes. I had the dry mouth feeling. I had the dry skin. What else? Besides from the 5D, I can't think of a lot of differences, but I did definitely feel drier all my skin and my mouth. And definitely the keto breath, probably. I don't have anybody to tell me if I have that, but I felt like it. Um, and I didn't really experience that much difference between my 5D and my 14-day, except for definitely had drier skin. And I think that part of that is as I would go deeper into the fast, I felt less thirsty. The last few days, I really didn't even care if I drank that much. I have no idea why. But I've always had trouble in taking enough water, so I'm probably kind of dehydrated, sorry, already. So yeah, I just naturally don't drink that much, but with the 14-day, I didn't, at the end, I didn't feel thirsty at all.
What about sleep? Did you feel that I mean, one of the things commonly said by people who are doing extended fasts is that they have insomnia, but then they feel somewhat tired during the day. Did you notice that you were having, energy dips during the day, and what did you do to sort of work with that? Like I had to do, I didn't think I was going to have many shifts at work, and I ended up getting like 6 or 7 of them that I wasn't expecting. So I was just like, I'm going to plow through this.
Yeah.
I was really trying to clear the decks before and during this fast, and that's why I decided to do it, because I thought I won't really be working all that much. And then all of a sudden, bam, it hit me. So can you talk about sort of your day to day, like were you able to get through the day? Did you did you get rest time in there? And
Yeah, I have the advantage that I don't work outside of my home, so I can, well, let's say in theory, I can rest when I want to, but in reality, that really didn't happen. I did try to focus on, I definitely did not exercise, just for me, because when I do a fast, I want to focus on the healing, the healing part of it. And I feel like if my body can't put its energy into healing if I'm working out. So I avoided working out. I did walk, as Al suggests, the 1 mile walks, but I stayed very low key in expending energy. I don't really get to rest, honestly, but I really didn't feel tired. I don't know if it's because I have fasted for a while, but I did have sleep issues. I have not had sleep issues since I started this healing journey. I have slept really, really well, but I did find that last 7 days of the 14-day, and even since, I've had sleep issues where I wake up, I fall asleep fine, but I wake up anywhere between 2 and 4, and I have trouble getting back to sleep, and that has kind of stayed with me. Yeah,
although
but
I think
my energy level.
probably, it'll calm itself down as you get further away from the fast. I think that happened with me too. I was having sleep issues. Then I got a horrible job where I had to get up really, really early. So that was also messing with my sleep schedule. But okay, so what would you tell people? Any parting thoughts? Is there anything I didn't ask? Or if you had to tell someone, I mean, obviously a 14-day fast is not something you can just jump into. You had experience, you had numerous other fasts. What would you tell someone that wants to just start this journey?
The actual fasting journey or working toward a longer fast?
Well, both. I mean, anyone who's kind of interested in like, I mean, if you tell someone you didn't eat for 14 days, they just can't believe it. And if you tell someone, if Al tells you that he didn't eat for 40 days, even though Jesus did it, you still can't believe it. So,
Yeah.
you know, it really does go against a lot of societal things that you take for granted in your head growing up, and you know the whole way that you think. So if you're talking to someone who just maybe said, hey, can you tell me a little bit about fasting, you know, did you faint? Did you starve to death? What would you say to somebody who is just looking into it to start? I mean, obviously the pain thing is huge.
I just would say, before you start fasting, even the intermittent fasting, know why you're doing it. And definitely for me, of course, I might think a little bit differently, but for me, knowing the different things that happen when you do fast was motivating and also kept me not cheating. Like I wanted all those benefits which come with a more extended rejuvenation fast. But I would say, start out slow. You don't want to, well, you can't go into it just full, well, I guess you can, but it would take a tremendous amount of willpower to work into, you know, to just go into it. But you don't want to be eating a lot of sugary foods and stuff like that. I had already removed sugar from my diet before I started fasting. I think it's harder to fast if you have a carbohydrate or a sugar addiction. I wouldn't even attempt it if I had that. So I worked on my diet first and then started the fasting part of it. I admire Al for doing the 40-day, like, even though the 14 and not having food isn't that hard, I just can't imagine wanting to go without food for that long. So that would take a whole nother mind game for me, but just starting out small and always reminding yourself why you're doing it and the benefits that come with it is so, that's so motivating. And you actually see the changes. I don't know about you, Jean, but yeah, like you almost instantly can see, like one of my favorite things is my ankles get small. So I have these like little bony ankles. So I look for that. In fact, I want to fast when I see my ankles getting a little bit bigger. I'm like, oh, we gotta do that 5-day fast. So that I look, lose that water weight. So for me, it's partly challenge and partly a lot benefit. If you have the why that you're doing it and you're looking toward the benefit, it's really not difficult to do. It's all a mind thing, which is if you're in for a good challenge, but work up to it. I definitely suggest that you work up to it. And also, I highly recommend that you have support. I never would have done this 14-day if you hadn't done it first. So just knowing that you were doing it
and bitching about it every single day
was really yeah, but it's just knowing that somebody else is doing it, and that it's possible. And I do, but like I said, if you're doing an extended fast, I think it's best to have coaching or somebody that's doing it with you, or somebody who has done it, or help and support. Because I remember one time, Al, I was doing that 5-day fast. No, I was going to do a 7 so that I could get past my 5 and beat that record. And I felt really horrible, like day 6, I think it was. And I was ready to quit because I felt really bad. And I had never felt that bad on a fast. And I don't even remember, I don't know if you remember, Al, what the symptoms were, but because I had him to talk to, I would have quit. And I'm not a quitter, but he told me that that was probably because I was getting down to the visceral fat, getting rid of that fat that is what I wanted to get rid of, and that it was releasing the toxins that that fat holds. And that's why I was feeling bad. So if I hadn't had him tell me that, I would
Right.
have,
If you don't know what the
I would have
steps are
quit.
along the way and what the metabolic changes are, it's such new territory that's just like, I've never been here before. I don't know what to expect. I was thinking like, maybe I'll die today. Like, all these weird things. Anyway, Cynthia, that is awesome. So yeah, Al, is there anything that you want to say?
No, it's just I'm really proud of you you ladies, because because you're following my protocol. It's one thing to say that I did it, but it's another thing to say I have other people here who are getting the same type of results that I'm getting. So it just makes it less intimidating for other people, especially when they see someone like Eugene who is overcoming her hypothyroidism, and both of you with the scoliosis and everything. So
Yeah.
it gives people hope. I mean, for Eugene, you took inspiration from Rebecca sharing her
Exactly.
story. Did a 14
She
day
had done it 14 days, and I was like,
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's all about, making sure that we help people that can become role models for people that can relate to them. So
yeah.
that's what it's all
And
about.
I forgot to mention that I lost 4 inches off my waist during that 14-day fast. So
That's the
that was
internal fat.
incredible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, isn't that amazing? Because I had done intermittent fasting, and it was like my waist is always the same. It's always the same. And then all of a sudden it was 3 inches less. And it's like, how did that happen?
Where does it go?
Anyway, okay. So thank you, Cynthia. Thank you, Al. And congratulations. And let's hope that these videos inspire other people to try and feel like they can do it, and it will happen. And it's not too scary. If two moms like us can do it, it's not too scary.
That's right. Yeah. That's right.
It's a little scary, but it's not too scary.